When a person that's new in sales and new as an entrepreneur, starts doing their business, they get disappointed very quickly because they don't realize you can do everything right with a client, with an agent, with an employee, with a salesperson. You can do everything right, and they can still change their minds. Why? Because people often change their minds. People are emotional beings. Well, Pat, what should I put my focus into? Should I not trust people? I don't know if I'm saying that. This is what I'm saying to you. I know I can control my effort. I can't control everybody's effort. I can control my attitude. I can't control everybody's attitude. I can control me keeping my word. I can't control everybody keeping their word. I can control me not changing my mind all the time. I can't control people changing their minds all the time. I can control how I'm gonna behave on a daily basis. I can't do the other side. By the way, systems are not emotional. You can control systems. People are emotional. You can't control people. Trust systems, drive systems, trust your mission, trust your vision, trust your crusade, trust what your vision is long-term and what you're gonna be able to do. At the beginning stages of you being a salesperson or an entrepreneur, you can't do that with people because they're gonna often change their minds. Now, does this mean it's always gonna be like that? Not at all. Why? The longer you're in business, you eventually find a group of people that buy into you. You eventually find a group of people that understand how consistent you are. You eventually find a group of people that want to be in business with you forever. You eventually find a group of people that like your style. You eventually find a group of people that like your vision, your crusade, your cause, your mission, and your vision is so big that other people's vision also fits into it, but it won't happen right off the bat. And so while you're watching this video and you're asking yourself, oh my gosh, if I land this one client, it's gonna make me $300,000, it's gonna change my life. I can't wait to land this client. If I land that one sales guy, he's the best in the market. I gotta get this guy. What happens if they change their minds? Do you also change your mind? What happens if they say no? Do you also get down on yourself and say, oh my gosh, I don't have the business for me? No. Don't let other people's emotions and decisions and constant changing their minds dictate your mind. You focus on your vision, your mission, and long-term things that you want to do with your life. And eventually, you'll find enough people that want to run with you.
Perfection equals paralysis.
Okay, so you can never make a perfect decision.
No. If you left it to engineers, no car would ever come off the assembly line. No car would ever come off the assembly line. And I've been in business with enough engineers, I can attest to that with my hand on my heart. They'd still be trying to make it better. And the internet business is very much the same. The internet kids want to test and test and test, and they want the landing page to be this. And roll it out. The great thing about the internet is your results are instantaneous.
And you can make changes instantaneously.
Correct. I mean, if something that I'm overseeing at Concord level, 60,000 feet, doesn't work in 2 days, can it? Forget about it. Move on. And today at our meeting, now the young kids are, we ran it 3 days, sir, and we closed it down. And they are thinking I'm going to ask why. I said, no, that's fine. Next, because without them making mistakes and without them being allowed to make the decision, they never get any better. And 95% of the time, I know probably better than they do, but we're never going to be able to know everything or have them know everything unless, and they will never know everything, but unless they make mistakes and get comfortable with making mistakes.
Entrepreneurs have one thing in common. They keep going. They'll change the rules. They'll reinvent the rules. Mm-hmm. They don't just take one answer. So a real entrepreneur, it really makes no difference which country you're in. That's my belief. So, I
love that.
It's just a mindset. It's F you. You mess with me, I'll find a way around it. I have a friend, he's multi-family rich guy from France. And, France is as communistic as it gets.
75% top line for $1 million earners.
Yeah, but that's why he lives here. So he started buying vineyards in Napa and Sonoma. So he went back to the French government and says, it's his wine. He says, I want to ship my wine in bulk to California. And the government says, you can't do that. So
this is the French government saying you can't ship.
Yeah, and here's a guy, I think he's 5 generations French wine guy. This guy is an entrepreneur. He says, okay, I can't ship him in barrels. The guy goes, yeah. He says, okay, I'll ship him in bottles. So he bottled all of his stuff. It cost him more money, but he still figured out how to do it. Do you know what I mean? And now he has his wine with his California wine and all this. And so he went back to the French government and said, here, try this. See if it's not better. And so now they're all confused because he didn't break any rules. So I'll say it again. Entrepreneur is a mindset first, a skill set, and rules. And depending upon whether you're an employee or a small business, the rules are different. The mindsets are different. The skill sets are different.
The word entrepreneur is bandied about too loosely. That not everyone who owns a small business is an entrepreneur. There are small business owners and there are entrepreneurs.
What's an entrepreneur?
And you can find entrepreneurs in big companies. It doesn't mean that they're small business owners, right? I think entrepreneurs are problem solvers. I think
Rather than risk takers.
Yeah, I think fundamentally there are plenty of risk takers. I think who are entrepreneurs. There's a risk taker if you're a small business owner, right? You went out to start the business, but they're not the same. I don't think. And entrepreneurs are those ones who they're constantly looking to solve problems, and that's where I think they perceive opportunity or the mischief that you describe. I don't think inherently it's a sense of mischief. They're not trying to stir the pot for the sake of stirring the pot. I think that they see something and they're like, we can make that better, or we can fill that hole. And that's very much the way the famous entrepreneurs, the Elon Musks and the Richard Bransons operate. They see gaps. They see things that don't work.
As did Jobs.
As did Jobs. They see things that could be better.
A basketball coach in 7th grade gave me advice that I've carried through my entire life. If you want to get better, play with people who are better than you. And since that moment, probably with anything that I can think of in my life, I've always sought to throw myself into situations where I'm probably maybe one of the least knowledgeable in the room, or I have the least amount of experience. So I started playing with upperclassmen in regards to basketball at the YMCA and at my high school. At the time, I was always playing with guys who were taller than me, stronger than me, had better skills than I did. And I feel like that, just being thrown into an experience like that, it forces, it's kind of sink or swim. Like, it kind of forces you, and you have to find the self-reliance inside of you to stay with it, to actually excel and get to the next level.
Well, luckily, I got at a very early age the idea that the safest way to try and get what you want is to try and deserve what you want. It's such a simple idea. It's the golden rule, so to speak. You want to deliver to the world what you would buy if you were on the other end. There is no ethos, in my opinion, that is better for any lawyer or any other person to have. By and large, the people who've had this ethos win in life, and they don't win just money, just honors and emoluments. They win the respect, the deserved trust of the people they deal with. And there is huge pleasure in life to be obtained from getting deserved trust. And the way to get it is to deliver what you'd want to buy if the circumstances were reversed.
I came to the mindset when I was in film school, Mark, that I did not want to be a one and done. I did not want to be a flash in the pan. I wanted to be here for the long haul. And when Kurosawa, the great Akira Kurosawa, was doing press for one of his last films, Ron, his journalist asked him, "You're one of the greatest master filmmakers of all time. What else do you still have to learn?" And Kurosawa said, "I still have the universe to learn." So I was in film school, and that blew my mind. The baddest ever.
Right.
He's 85, 83, 84, and he says he still has a universe to learn as far as storytelling.
Yeah.
That really hit me. Like, you really gotta, like the jazz term, you gotta stay in the woodshed. You gotta shed, and constantly be on it, perfecting your craft, and never get to the point that you trick yourself into thinking that you know it all.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey. What the stories, to tell stories, how you craft them. Just be a good storyteller, and you do that by having a body of work. So it's always been on the body of work.
Yeah. Over time, man, most celebrities or artists, I see them come and go, man, all the time, man. They really think that it's about them. You know what I mean? They think that, oh yeah, people just love, like, me. It's about me. And really, it's about what you do, the service that you can provide. It's just like, man, how much would you appreciate your dentist if he f***ed up your teeth? You know what I'm saying? How much would you appreciate your mechanic if he didn't fix your car?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As long as the service that you provide is that of a stellar quality and above standards, then you're gonna appreciate that person and hold him in high regard. When that service begins to diminish, then you're not gonna hold that person in high regard no more. And that's why you see people come and go so fast, because when they get there, they forget that it's about the quality of what they can present, the quality of the work that they can provide to the people. And when they stop providing that quality of work, they feel they don't have to, they feel they too big, they feel, entitled, then, man, that when they disappear.
I don't know, there are very few people, you look at the most successful people in the world, I know very few of them that haven't had a major failure. If you read through they're not the financially most successful people. If you read through the Forbes billionaire list and you read their stories, they've had failed businesses and they've lost everything and they've hung on they've almost died holding on to the ledge. What's his name? The guy who owns CBS and Sumner Redstone.
Redstone, yeah.
So there are lots of examples of people who had huge adversity. And I think it's how you deal with adversity that determines your ultimate success, as opposed to how you deal with success that determines your ultimate success.
What do you think is the biggest stumbling block that most people face with this kind of journey?
Honestly, is they have the woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left and you look to your right and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like, if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do. And everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow and realizing I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race.
At some point, in fact, I'll just quote Lao Tzu, the guy that wrote the Tao Te Ching. He said, if you worry about whether other people think about you, you will always be their prisoner. So unless you're prepared to be other people's prisoners, at some point, if they're hurling dirt on you, if they're constantly trying to rebury you under the earth that you're trying to claw your way out from, then you're never going to get out. You've got to just stop worrying about what they think. So they can't actually affect you. They can only try to influence your mindset. So, and even now, if people hate you, slings and arrows, you could get a job digitally. You could go be a freelancer on Upwork or whatever. People don't even have to know who you are. So truly in today's world, they are not going to be able to stop you from getting a job, but they can really mess with your head, but only if you let them. So I will say to that, do not let them. You've got to understand who you're trying to become, believe in your ability to get there, to become that person, to understand that to continue to beat yourself up for something in the past is not going to serve you. And so for that very reason, let it go.
When you want to succeed, as bad as you want to breathe, young man, then you will be successful in any area of your life. And so listen to me very closely. I say this to you. I never said when you want to succeed as bad as you want to eat. Because you can go 21 days, maybe 30, if you're Gandhi or Gandhi's mother without eating. Fast. You can fast for 30 days. I never said when you want to succeed as bad as you want water, because you can go about 3 days or so without it. I said when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you probably only got a minute or so. Then you'll be successful. I'm gonna get straight to the point.
No matter what you lose, no matter who you lose, there's one thing that you can't lose, and that's yourself. I see so many people lose themselves, give up on themselves because of other people. Listen to me. Don't give up on you because they gave up on you. You hear me? Don't stop believing in you because they stopped believing in you. Don't let what they think influence what you know. It doesn't matter how many people quit on you. You hear me? It doesn't matter. What's important is that you don't quit on you. The key to your journey is to never let how they feel about you change how you feel about yourself. They don't walk in your shoes, so stop giving their opinions the power to direct your path.
Down the line, you meet somebody, you might see them again, and they're going to remember you. You build those relationships. I did the same thing with Warren Buffett. Didn't know he was Warren Buffett. You know, guys, you know, I'm sitting in the room with Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm thinking, these are the guys. You know, and he told me, he said, man, look, this old guy over here, he makes $1 million just touching a computer. And I've been talking to this guy the whole time. You know, and I'm like, wow, you never know who you might be sitting next to or who you might meet. So when you get into a room, you got to take advantage of networking, just having an open conversation, meeting somebody, telling them your name, telling them where you're from, telling them what business you're in, you know, tell them whatever you're involved in. Because that person might know somebody, say, hey, you know, you into, okay, I could hook you up with, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is my guy from over here. That's what building relationships is about, the networking. And that's the first part of business, being an entrepreneur. Because you might not have the money to start the business, even though you're an entrepreneur, you got the idea. That's how people say they started a business with no money. They had the idea, but then they went to somebody and networked with the person that had the money.
Was there a moment you thought, I might not make it?
The riskiest moment for Amazon, Charlie, was at the very, very beginning. I needed to raise $1 million at a certain point. And I ended up giving away 20% of the company for $1 million.
A hell of a deal for somebody.
A lot of people did very well on that deal. But they also took a risk, so they deserved to do very well on that deal. But I had to take 60 meetings to raise $1 million, and I raised it from 22 people at approximately $50,000 a person. And it was nip and tuck whether I was going to be able to raise that money. So the whole thing could have ended before it even started. That was 1995, you know, and the first question every investor asked me was, what's the internet?
Without sounding like everybody else sound, you know what I'm saying, and trying to keep it as real as I can keep it with everybody paying attention and watching. The most important thing, number one, is you got to get rid of doubt. If you got doubt in what you're doing, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And the way to do that is you have a plan. Because if you got a plan, it's not like just a pipe dream. You have a step-by-step list of things to do to get to your goal. If you don't have that, it's very hard to really have faith in what you're doing. Because as soon as something pop up, it's going to look like the end all. But if you got a game plan of everything you need to do, you know, one thing pop up, well, I still got to do this, and that, so this ain't going to stop me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing pop up, well, I accomplished this 2 things. Since my last obstacle, I only got 3 more things to do. Let me keep pushing. F it. Pretty soon you attained your goal, and then you create another one. But without a game plan and without a strong sense of faith in what you're doing, it's going to be real hard to accomplish anything.
One of the most difficult things for me when I first got to Hollywood was trying to understand how it's done. I've never been the person that walked in the room and said, and they say, stand here, move here, sit, move, go, and do that, and do that, and do this, and you'll get here. I've been the person that goes, move here, go here, do that, and I go, okay, well, why are we doing this? I want to know why. Why is it done that way? Is there a better way to do it? Is there another way to do it? And if you tell me this is the way it's been done all of our lives, for our whole, that makes no sense to me. I've always challenged it. I'm not a rebel, but I've challenged the thinking. And I do that a lot in my own studio now for people who come in with this complete set of rules of this is how it's done. Well, does that feel right to you? So it's about what feels right, and I'm hoping that I can convey that.
If my SEAL career had ended with a mistake, I would have figured out what my next mission was going to be. That's what I would have done. I mean, I would have said, okay, I like that job. I failed at it. What can I learn from that? And what can I do next differently to make sure I don't make that mistake again? Mm-hmm. I'm going to learn from the past, but I'm not going to dwell on it. Mm-hmm. There's no point in dwelling on it. The only point in dwelling on it is to learn from it. So that's what I would do here. And then I would take what I learned from my experiences of where I failed, and I would also take the positive things that I learned, because even that failure is a positive. Even that failure is a positive, because you realize the value of the opportunity that you had, and you blew it, and you're like, okay, I'm never going to let that happen again. Lesson learned. I'm actually stoked I get to learn that lesson, because there's going to be more opportunities that come up in life, and you got to make sure that you don't disregard those opportunities when they come up.
What was going through your mind when everything was just falling apart, and you don't even know you don't even know what to do, and basically everything was just falling apart, and you just trying to find a way. Like, what was going through your mind? Did you ever think like, damn, what if this doesn't happen for me? You know?
My mind never worked like that in the beginning. Like when I wasn't on, I never had those thoughts. But I can relate to that only because there came a point after my first album was already out where I started like really getting down on myself. Like, man, like I really just dropped the ball, man. Like, this didn't go how I wanted it to go. Like, I didn't come out how I foresaw myself coming out. And I was really getting down on myself. And it really did feel way more. And everybody else is looking at me like, oh, you crazy? You had the #1 album in the country. You got to go out Grammy nominated. And I'm not seeing or appreciating any of that. So what I can say is you have to stop looking at what you don't have and what's not happening for you, and start appreciating like what you do actually have. Like, my man, you got on a nice watch, like your hat is fresh, like you're in New York City, it's the land of opportunity, you know what I mean? You're a good looking guy, I'm sure you got maybe a girlfriend, like there's a lot of things, your family, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. And that's the only way you can climb out of like a place of focusing on what you don't have, is by focusing on like, man, what do I have to be thankful for? And everybody got something to be thankful for. Even a homeless man, if he wanted to, he could be like, yo, I'm breathing today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my arms work, my legs work. You can start very small, and it's a process, but that's how you can get up out like of a negative space like that.
The secret to success is get hold of something and hang on. Just hang on. If somebody wants it, hang on to it. It's worth as much to you as it is to anybody who wants it. I have to think in the world now where everybody's idea of a business is make a business. I'm going to buy a piece of real estate. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to do it 1 week later. I'm going to buy a stock and short sale. This guy had a completely different approach. Get a hold of something and hang on to it. And if you look at some of the most successful people in the world, they follow that strategy. Bill Gates gave up very little shares in Microsoft. He owned, I think, 60% of it, even at its peak. He may have sold since then, but he got a hold of something and didn't let go. And he says, and again, that's the opposite of mentality that most people have. Warren Buffett has the same thing. He buys businesses that he would want to hold on to forever. You got to get good. We talked about this, getting good at one thing. But this guy was saying, I've heard this. This is a new. Remember, I said you got to create voices in your head. This is a voice. This Jack Simplot. They even put it on the back of the book. Grab a hold to something and hang on. If you don't have something to grab a hold of, you better freak out and find something to grab a hold on. It could be an occupation. It could be a movement. It could be a charity. It could be a business. It could be an invention. It could be a piece of art. But grab hold of something and do not let go. Now, make sure you grab onto the right thing, because if you grab onto the wrong thing, you're in for some trouble. But have some investment. Don't spend all your cash, so that when a good deal comes up, you have the money to buy. If you're an artist, if you're a farmer, if you're an actor, whatever, you're going to need some cash. Don't spend the taw and get a hold of something.
Trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the
you
deal
were
I made.
crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out.
To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential, the ghost of the ideas you never acted on, the ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
Now, every business that I've invested in hasn't been a success. I've had failures, much like most people. Whether it was running for office as a state legislator when I was 21 and losing, or watching certain businesses that I invest in misjudge people or misjudge process or misjudge the product. And I've also lost. But at the end of the day, I keep a scorecard. And the scorecard isn't about just dollars and cents. It's how much do I enjoy investing in the business? And is this a business that I'm really proud to put my name on? That to me is the true testament. Some businesses have great returns and some have average returns. Sometimes the ones with the average returns are the ones that are most enjoyable.
Great businesses. If you look at, I do believe in looking at history, and I like to study failure, actually. And my partner says, all I want to know is where I'll die, so I'll never go there. And we want to see what has caused businesses to go bad. And the biggest thing that kills them is complacency. I mean, you want a restlessness, a feeling that, you know, that somebody's always after you, but you're going to stay ahead of them. You always want to be on the move. And when you've got a great business, you know, like Coca-Cola, which is, there aren't any like Coca-Cola, but you really, the danger would always be that you rest on your laurels. But I see none of that, obviously, at Coca-Cola. But that is the key, to compete the same way when you've got 1.8 billion servings being sold daily as when you were selling, you know, 10 a day. And that restlessness, that belief that tomorrow is more exciting than today, you know, you just have to have it permeate the organization.
That whatever you do, somebody can do it better. You have to bring your A game in every single day. There's nothing unique about any one individual. What's unique is their passion, their ability to execute, to meet targets and exceed them. The minute you lose that ability, in capitalism, you're gone. It's a fair trade. The engine that makes you rich can take it all away from you. There are no guarantees. I think that's incredibly important.